state of Texas is a land shaped by extreme cycles of boom and collapse. Its history is not simply a list of economic victories, but also a trail of failures scattered along interstate highways and across vast stretches of dry desert. The phenomenon of ghost towns here is not just a relic of the past, it is an ongoing process. Shifts in transportation routes, the depletion of natural resources, and aggressive urbanization pulling populations toward major metropolitan triangles have all played a role. From the hurricane-prone shores of the Gulf of Mexico to the high plains of West Texas, there are settlements that have completely died and others that are slowly fading away. In many cases, the warning signs appear through crumbling infrastructure and populations shrinking year after year. So which towns tell this story? This journey begins with Indianola, a place that was once the second busiest port in Texas. Located along the coast of Calhoun County, Indianola in the mid-19th century served as a major gateway for thousands of German immigrants and a critical military logistics hub. Life here was once vibrant, filled with large hotels and bustling trade activity rivaling that of Galveston. But its low coastal location made it dangerously vulnerable. In 1875, a devastating hurricane destroyed much of the city. When residents tried to rebuild, a second hurricane in 1886 wiped out what remained. This time, the people gave up. They did not simply relocate, they abandoned the future of Indianola entirely. Today, the site is little more than a historical marker along the shoreline. When the tide rises, the remaining foundations of old buildings sink beneath the water, a stark reminder of how nature can erase an entire city from the map in a single night. Moving deep into West Texas, we arrive at Texon in Reagan County. Unlike Indianola, which was destroyed by nature, Texon became a victim of resource depletion. Founded in 1923, the town was a company settlement that emerged after the discovery of oil at the Santa Rita No. 1 well. At its peak, Texon was a model community, complete with a theater, hospital, and sports facilities for oil workers and their families. But as the oil reserves beneath the land began to decline and the energy industry shifted elsewhere, Texon's purpose disappeared. By the late 1960s, the oil company gradually withdrew its operations. By 2026, Texon stands as a rusting monument. No households remain. What is left are skeletal oil tanks and abandoned operational buildings, their windows shattered by the relentless desert wind, silent evidence of the end of an oil boom that once defined the region. From the rise and fall of oil towns, the story moves to a different kind of collapse, one caused by infrastructure. Glenrio sits directly on the border between Texas and New Mexico along the legendary Route 66. During its prime, Glenrio was a lively stop for travelers. Visitors often bought gasoline on the Texas side, where taxes were lower, and then walked across the border to drink beer in New Mexico, where alcohol laws were more relaxed. The town's death arrived suddenly in the mid-1970s when Interstate 40 was built, bypassing the old highway entirely. The faster new route sent cars speeding past without ever needing to stop in this small town. Today, Glenrio feels like a frozen time capsule. Art Deco motels and old roadside cafes still stand along the abandoned stretch of highway, but without residents or activity. They offer a haunting visual reminder of how a single national infrastructure decision can permanently shut down the economic heartbeat of a local community. In the greener region of Washington County lies Independence, a town with a surprisingly strong intellectual legacy. It was once the original location of Baylor University before the institution later moved to Waco. Even Sam Houston, the hero of Texas independence, once lived here. Yet the decline of independence was largely the result of a decision made by its own residents. In the late 19th century, the community rejected the arrival of the railroad, fearing the noise and disruption that new technology might bring. That choice proved disastrous. Without rail access, the region's trade and commerce quickly shifted to the nearby town of Brenham. Today, Independence is no longer a functioning town, but rather a historical site. Lonely stone columns remain from buildings that once supported the Grand University campus, now standing quietly among open fields where cattle graze. Then there is Catarina in Dimmitt County, whose story is ultimately a tragedy centered around water. In the early 20th century, Catarina was promoted as an agricultural paradise in the middle of arid land, thanks to the abundance of artesian wells. A luxurious Spanish-style hotel was even built to attract investors from the northern states. But excessive groundwater extraction for large-scale irrigation quickly caused the water table to collapse. The wells ran dry, and with them, the dreams of Catarina faded. Although a small number of residents still remain, the town center now looks almost like the set of a post-apocalyptic film. Large concrete buildings with crumbling facades stand surrounded by thorny brush, a stark reminder that in Texas, control over water can matter far more than ownership of land. One of the most iconic structures still standing today is the red hotel and restaurant building that once symbolized Catarina's ambitious future. Moving on to Belle Plain in Callahan County, we see a pattern similar to the fate of Independence. During the 1870s, Belle Plain served as the county seat and was considered a thriving settlement with impressive facilities, including one of the earliest colleges in the region. Its prosperity began to fade when the Texas and Pacific Railroad selected a route passing through Baird, about 6 miles to the north. Within just a few years, businesses and residents relocated there in large numbers. Today, Belle Plain sits on private ranch land and is difficult to access. The stone ruins of the old college buildings still stand quietly among mesquite trees, a silent witness to how a once prosperous town can become a ghost, simply because it lost the competition for a transportation route. Meanwhile, in Hardeman County, Medicine Mound stands against the backdrop of 4 hills considered sacred by the Comanche people. In the early 20th century, the town once served as a busy cotton shipping center. However, disaster struck in the 1930s when a massive fire destroyed much of its central business district. The economic devastation of the Great Depression ensured the town would never truly recover. Its decline is visible along Farm to Market Road 91, where only a single row of commercial buildings remains standing. Their interiors are now empty and exposed to the elements, creating a haunting scene where Native American history and the remnants of an agricultural economy blend together in silence. One of the most unusual ghost town stories in Texas belongs to Bluffton. Unlike most abandoned towns, Bluffton was not deserted because of economic collapse. It was intentionally evacuated to be submerged underwater. The story began in 1937 when Lake Buchanan was created for hydroelectric power. The original town of Bluffton was flooded as the reservoir filled, yet Bluffton refused to disappear completely. During periods of extreme drought across Texas, such as several recorded years leading up to 2026, the lake's water level drops dramatically, revealing the remains of the old town. Concrete foundations, gravestones from the old cemetery, and petrified tree trunks emerge from the exposed lakebed. It becomes a kind of periodic ghost town, visible only when the state is experiencing severe drought. A different kind of story unfolds in Toyah, located in Reeves County. According to the latest population estimates in 2026, the town's population has shrunk to fewer than 60 residents. The signs of a ghost town are unmistakable here. Many homes stand abandoned with open windows, revealing traces of everyday life left behind, as if their occupants simply stepped out and never returned. Toyah is the definition of a town slowly dying in the wide, empty plains of West Texas. There was once a time when thousands of people lived here, while Toyah served as an important operational hub for the Texas and Pacific Railroad. The town had large stores and modern infrastructure for its era. But as locomotives transitioned from steam engines to diesel engines, which required far fewer stops along the line, Toyah's importance gradually faded. Finally, among the fully established ghost towns, there is Terlingua. It stands as a rare example where the identity of a ghost town itself has become a new economic attraction, even though the community that exists today is very different from the rigid and busy mining town it once was. Terlingua was once a mercury mining center, but after World War II, the collapse of mercury prices and the bankruptcy of the Chisos Mining Company left the town completely abandoned. Today, the area has reinvented itself as an eccentric tourist destination because of its location near Big Bend National Park. Even so, the original town center remains a haunting landscape of roofless stone houses and mining ruins scattered across the desert. After looking at towns that have already surrendered to time, the focus now shifts to places that still have a pulse but show signs of following the same path towards silence. The first is Moran in Shackelford County. Driving along State Highway 6, you will see rows of brick storefronts along the main street that have been boarded up for years. The population has now fallen to fewer than 200 residents. Without replacement industries, and with young people moving away to cities like Abilene, Moran appears to be entering a kind of permanent hibernation. The aging school building, slowly deteriorating with time, has become the strongest symbol that the town's future generations are nearly gone. A similar situation can be seen in Lueders, located along the border of Jones County. This town was once famous as a major center for high-quality limestone quarrying. The stone from Lueders was widely used to construct government buildings across Texas. However, as the industry became increasingly automated and local construction demand declined, Lueders' economy began to stall. Signs of its decline are visible through the gradual closure of public facilities and the growing number of vacant lots now covered with wild brush within residential areas. Recent data indicates that home occupancy has dropped by nearly 30% over the past 5 years, an alarming indicator for a town slowly drifting toward ghost town status. At the far southern edge of Texas, Presidio presents a more complex story. Although its population is larger than many towns on this list, its extreme geographic isolation in the Chihuahuan Desert and poverty levels approaching 50% make the community highly vulnerable. Many neighborhoods in Presidio show visible signs of abandonment, with deteriorating homes and damaged road infrastructure that often goes unrepaired. The town's heavy dependence on cross-border trade makes its economy fragile and unpredictable. If the current trend of young residents leaving for larger cities continues through the end of the decade, Presidio risks losing the social cohesion that allows it to function as a stable, unified town. Meanwhile, Smiley in Gonzales County faces its own serious challenges. Once known as a center connected to Texas's agricultural and shipping industries, the town now appears worn and stagnant. Changes in large-scale agricultural business models have made it difficult for smaller ranchers and farmers in the area to remain competitive. Today, the downtown district consists mostly of aging buildings with peeling paint and very little economic activity. A steady population decline since the early 2000s, combined with the absence of significant infrastructure investment by 2026, signals that Smiley may be nearing a critical tipping point. Slowly but surely, it appears to be following the same path taken by many former railroad towns of the past. Finally, there is Lott in Falls County. Few places illustrate the physical collapse of a small town as dramatically as this one. Its downtown is lined with large two-story brick buildings from the era when cotton wealth once fueled prosperity. Yet today, many of those structures have collapsed roofs and floors overgrown with grass and weeds. Railroad tracks still pass through the town every day, but trains no longer stop there. The absence of nearby medical access and the closure of the last remaining local businesses have made Lott increasingly difficult to live in. In many ways, Lott is not simply a quiet town. It is a town visibly deteriorating before the eyes of the people who remain. In the end, these towns across Texas reflect the collision between human ambition and the ever-changing realities of nature and economics. Their existence as ghost towns, or future ghost towns, reminds us that progress often leaves forgotten places behind. When a settlement loses the economic reason that once sustained it, it slowly fades back into the landscape, leaving behind ruins that whisper the stories of the dreams once built there.